Alright, we're gonna reinstall the upper intake manifold on a 1996 Ford Explorer 5.0. It's already off of the car. Now we're going to put it back on. There it is, it's right over there. And we've put new gaskets on it. Gasket that goes to the throttle body spacer. The one that was on the throttle body was good already. We do have a new Velcro gasket here that still needs to go on, but I won't go on until we actually move it back in the car. But right now we're going to just do it mentally so that we know exactly where all the connections are supposed to go. Alright, so we're going to pick the unit up just like this, walk it over here, and that's exactly how it will sit in the car. Okay, so now that we know that, we can kind of just get a mental idea of where all the connections go. So we're going to start with this one first. This one that's to the brake booster line, that's going to go here. It's going to go right there. And around the back side here, underneath that, there's a connector here. It's a connection you got to make. I'm not sure what that goes to. I think it's the PVC. But whatever it is, it connects to this. Connects right there. Alright. And on the back side some more, we've got this harness here. Part next to the EGR valve. This is a vacuum diaphragm. So this part right here, this red wire, that red hose, connects to this vacuum diaphragm right back here. Alright. Then we got the other part of that same diaphragm. One part of it is connected to the EGR valve from this hose. And you have two connectors right here. Alright, those two connectors are going to go on this puppy, on the back side of it actually, right here. So one here, and this whole unit actually bolts up to these two bolts right here. One here, and that whole unit bolts up to that. Then we've got a connector right here that's actually on the EGR valve. That's an electrical connector. That is right, hiding back here. There it is. See it? It's hiding. That's your EGR electrical connector. Alright. And then we've got the air intake valve electrical connection. Idle air control valve, whatever it's called. I'm not a mechanic. Alright, that's underneath here. That's going to connect right, I don't know if you can see it, but right down there. That's the connector for it right there. It's underneath this unit. Actually part of the same wiring harness, but it's underneath it. So we've got that. Alright. And what else we got here? Alright, we've got connection right here on the throttle body. Forgot about this one. Where the heck is that? Alright, that is, let's see, where does that go? Let's get some light in there. Oh, I know where that goes. Okay, that's part of this unit here. Okay. That's actually going to be this hose right here. It's going to connect up into that. Once we get this back in the car, this is, you actually add oil to your car. That's going to sit right on here. And then that connector would go there on the throttle body. Okay. Got an electrical connector right here. Some kind of solenoid. I'm not a mechanic. Alright, but that's gonna go, that electrical connector is right here, part of this long wiring harness. That's this one right here. Right up here. It's going to connect to that. And right behind that, you've got, I took these out. You don't have to, you don't need to. Everybody does their job their way. But this is to your fuel injectors. You got one here, one here. So I took that wiring harness apart so I can get to this pipe down here. But yeah, so the fuel injector and the fuel injector. Okay. And what else we got on this thing? All right, right here. That's your throttle cable. It's going to actually snap right onto here, this little ball. And that is actually this wire right here. So we routed it all the way over here. It's going to pop right back on there. You can see that clear right there. Just pops right back in. That's your throttle cable. Alright, we've got another connection here. That goes some kind of fuel line. I'm not sure if people, like I said, I'm not a mechanic, but yeah, I know it connects to this. There's a little white clip that goes in here too. It always breaks, but you can buy it at the auto parts store. I got mine at O'Reilly's for $4. So yeah, little white clips go in here. Then got another connector down here. This one's tricky. I almost forgot about it. It's all the way down here at the very front. Another vacuum diaphragm, I think. Vacuum hose. It's right down here. It splits off, but it hides a lot. It's like right down up under there, but yeah, it connects right to that, right there. All right, so leave that in position. Then you have to put your coil pack bracket back on. This has 3 bolts in it. One here, and one up here. And then this electrical connector would actually go in here. And then, yeah. Alright, so that's enough to get us started. And by the way, the reason that we had to take this entire upper intake manifold and throttle body off was because there was a little tiny hole in this pipe right here. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, right here. There's a little tiny pipe in it. I actually put quick steel on it. I've never used it before, but somebody told me to try it at the auto parts store, so it's on there. It looks pretty solid. It took about maybe 5 minutes to get hard, an hour to completely set, and it's rock hard. Just as hard as the pipe that's under it. But yeah, we had to do all that just to get to this. So yeah. And once all that's back on, of course, you have to put your air filters and all this other crap back on here. This is going to go up here. And this is the old gasket. This gasket went here. It actually goes right there. Now, when you buy this gasket, if you haven't replaced this before, this was a pain. It took me like about 2 hours to figure this out. Take the gasket with you because it's not going to look exactly the same as the newer versions of this gasket. They're slightly different, but if you just go in with a picture, you're not going to be able to tell that this gasket is the right gasket because it looks different from a picture. But if you take the actual gasket with you and match it up, the space in here on the new gasket, like some of it's closed off a little bit, but it bolts up fine, so that should work. And all right, we're going to put it back on now and see if this works.